When I say the word Saltburn, I can guarantee that 95% of people would automatically think of those scenes. And whilst it could be argued that they are the reason for the success of the movie, they're also the reason it is so controversial. But is the hate that this movie gets justified? Just to preface, this video does include spoilers, so if you haven't seen this film already, I'd recommend watching it and then coming back. Let's start by ignoring those scenes. How deeply does it affect the overall story? I would argue that the main theme around Saltburn is obsession, with Oliver wanting to become Felix, a popular guy that comes from a wealthy family. Because of this obsession, he feels shameful towards his own life, going as far as to say his father was dead and his family struggled with mental health and substance abuse, which we know is not the case. This was likely a way to emotionally manipulate Felix in order to form a friendship out of pity. After Felix realizes this though, he completely ices Oliver out and asks him to leave after his birthday party. But Felix doesn't tell his family. We all know what happens after that. Farley is then blamed for the cause of the death due to the supposed involvement in drugs surrounding Felix's death. I heavily disliked Farley in the beginning, I'm not gonna lie, because he had no reason to act as he did towards Oliver. He was just an entitled rich guy that could get away with treating someone with zero respect. But I did still feel sorry for Farley once we found out about Oliver's antics, because let's face it, no one deserves to be framed for manslaughter. This didn't change how he treated Oliver before though, so I still don't like the guy. I can't talk about this film without mentioning the dinner scene after Felix's death. Each family member representing the 5 stages of grief was such a devastating and gripping experience that was very cleverly thought through, and each individual performance blew me away. Every performance in this was exactly what was needed for each character, and I have no idea how it could have been done any differently because it's just so them. After Felix's sister called Oliver out for his parasitic behaviour, she was found dead from what was said to be self-inflicted behaviour. Oliver's then bribed to leave by James until eventually he then encounters Elspeth in a cafe until we return back to where we were at the beginning of the film, and then now, would this storyline have been as impactful if, say, the bathtub scene was nowhere to be seen? I don't think it would be. Saltburn is a film that uses symbolism a lot, and I think that the bathtub scene is an example of this. It symbolises Oliver ingesting Felix's DNA, showing how deep his desire is to become someone else. And the vampire scene, whilst maybe not as necessary as the bathtub scene, can suggest Oliver's desire to consume the family and wanting to, taste their blood, be a part of their family. However, was a scene such as the grave scene needed? I'm not so sure. But if you have a different opinion, please let me know in the comments. The symbolism doesn't stop there. With the use of antlers in Oliver's party costume, he represents a minotaur, I don't know how you pronounce it, but is later seen to be the statue that Felix dies by. The minotaur is something in mythology that was isolated, locked away, and that can represent Oliver's feelings of loneliness at the beginning of the film. However, the Minotaur is also something demonic, something that feeds on humans, which is similar to Oliver towards the end of the film. And I love this costume, as well as many of the other choices throughout. Saltburn is, in my opinion, a very visually pleasing film. The cinematography really blew me away, along with every location, shot and detail that made it such an encapsulating experience. The party scenes especially had me entranced with the lighting and camera shots. Oh, I just loved it. Another was, again, the dinner scene. When the curtains were drawn and the whole room went red, I felt like a proud mum. It was so beautiful. To summarise, no, Saltburn was not a bad movie. But was it a good movie? Yeah, I think it was. And overall, I can see why a movie such as Saltburn may not work for others, but for me, it worked. The themes of obsession throughout the film were executed in weird, psychological and hypnotising ways, and I think that is something that can be subjectively seen as good. I hope you enjoyed my interpretation of this film, and let me know your thoughts in the comments, and yeah, don't forget to smile.